and welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and today we're going to be doing a video what we haven't quite done in a while. It's called Talking with Mr. Randy. So today, in Talking with Mr. Randy videos, I basically pick a topic. Sometimes it's a viewer, commenter, suggested question, and I make a video of it instead of just explaining it once or many times in the comment sections or on the different sources and sites and whatnot, forums. I'll just make a video, and if the questions ever comes up, I just put the link, and there you go. So today we're going to be talking about Japanese label transparency laws. Now, I just made the full review for the Nikka coffee grain whiskey, Japanese whiskey, a few days ago, and a commenter came up on another, I think it was the Iwa 45, popped up and asked a question about clarification on these laws, these transparency laws, and using glycerin and artificials and stuff like that. So we're just going to do a video covering what I've learned so far about these transparency laws. So Japan used to source bulk whiskey from Scotland, Canada, and the United States of America. Then they would blend those in, and sometimes the worst offenders would just source other people's whiskey, blend it, and call it a Japanese blended whiskey. They would bottle it or have somebody else bottle it. And it was just, there was wild, wild west. There was no standards. It was just whatever you do to put liquid in the bottle, put a label on the bottle, and sell it with the Japanese whiskey name on it. So let's go ahead and have a pour while we get through this. So I've been working this bottle down because, like I said, I just did the full review, and we're going to be working it down just a little bit, not a whole lot, just so we can stay libated and lubricated while we continue talking. So, if I remember correctly, I do believe it was in 2021. I think it was April 2021. I don't have the notes. I've already destroyed the notes. I've deleted the notes from this full review video where I did talk about the Japanese transparency label laws. So Japan would do all kinds of things. Like I said, it was a wild, wild west. There was no structure to the organization of it, no holding anything responsible. And that's not typically like Japanese culture, commerce, stuff like that. But it became a huge thing up until 2020. Then the Regulation Commission got together, which I forget their it's something like this, Japanese whiskey, something or another. Just like now, recently, tequila. Tequila has put itself together a regulatory commission to regulate the laws and stuff like that for tequila. I'm clapping my hands unless it doesn't come through because of the filter might filter the can clapping out. Yes, very much so. So the thing about these laws and the regulatory commissions is implementation and upholding the laws, okay? So now Japan has laws just like America does with its bourbon. So it has to be grain, it has to be Japanese grain sourced from Japan. It has to be malted grain. It has to be wood that is sourced from Japan. And if it's not, it has to be transparent on the label. Okay? Not just somewhere buried in the back of a website. It has to be transparent. The only time it doesn't have to be transparent is if it's transparent on the website. They don't have to put all that necessary stuff on the label. Again, the maturation process, let me get something because I'm... The maturation process has to be no less than 3 years, and it has to take place in the nation of Japan. It has to happen within the islands of Japan. Any of those islands, as long as it is technically Japanese land, there it is. The only caveat, the only breakaway from Japanese whiskey and the transparency laws is the E150A caramel coloring. That's the only caveat. That's the only caveat, is that they can add caramel coloring. There's no restrictions on how much. It just says they may use the E150A caramel coloring. Now, this Nika coffee grain, if you haven't watched the video, it's not even out yet. I don't think it's even out yet. It's scheduled to, what's today? Yeah, I think it's coming out tomorrow. I think the off-the-rip video for this is coming out tomorrow. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to upload this today in response to a few requests for transparency from different videos. There was one, like I said, from the Iwa 45 Japanese whiskey, and there was another one from a Scotch, I think. And I thought, you know what? I'll just make one video talking about transparencies, additives, and stuff like that. So as far as bourbon goes and Japanese whiskey, as long as they want to claim it's a Japanese whiskey on the label, then they have to follow the rules. Sometimes they would source the grain, distill it, use the water. You have to source, everything has to come from Japan. Everything has to happen inside of Japan in order for it to be Japanese whiskey on the label. And that's the transparency laws. That's the label transparency laws. Sometimes Japanese whiskey would do everything right inside of Japan, but then they would mature it outside of Japan. Doesn't make sense. I know, maybe they don't have enough land. Sometimes, if you don't know much about Japan, real estate is kind of a premium. You should look into the culture, watch a bunch of videos. Yes, they do have countryside and they have lots of land. Most of it's not being used really. And there's a lot of mountains, a lot of elevation and mountains and stuff. But you'll see when you watch the videos, it's not spread out like it here is in the States, at least not, outside of metro areas in the country. We have lots of land, and the metro areas are not as condensed and packly condensed as Japan. Watch some of their videos. I love Japan. I've been fascinated with Japan since the 80s. Not just the cool stuff, everything, the culture, the laws, how they do things, how they are, their history. One of the most fascinating histories of cultural on the planet in our history. Then, there's like Egypt, Rome, cool stuff like that. China has some good history. So sad to see. Maybe China will turn around after things fall apart over there, and it'll get back to the good stuff. But anywho, yes, real estate on Japan is a premium. So what they would do sometimes is they would put all these barrels, after they barreled them, they would put them on boats, while the carriers and the boats would ship back and forth, and the seas would rock them. What's that whiskey that I dare not call it a bourbon, but it's a whiskey. I think it's like Jefferson's or something like that. And that's kind of their thing. Like, they put it on ships while the ships move around. Interesting, but I don't know. We're moving on. So let me go ahead and take a drink real quick. It's got good amount of caramel, oaky spiciness, with a nice little vanilla twist. If you don't like grain, then this is probably not for you. But I think this is the Nika. They have I think they have like a yellow label. Then they have Nika from the barrel, and it's a little rectangle bottle. And then they have a smaller one that's a Nika from the barrel, like vintage, or it's like special edition, something like that. I'm thinking about picking up one of those just to see what a more quality Nika coffee or Japanese whiskey you can have. If you are seriously into Japanese whiskey and you'd like to suggest my next Japanese whiskey purchase and review, go ahead and drop that in the comment section below. If there's anything else, any more clarification you might wish to have on Japanese whiskey label laws, I probably don't have much more to say on it besides what I've already said, but we can talk about it. Anywho, I'd like to know in the comment section, where are you at? What are you currently drinking? Is there anything interesting going on in the world of libations around you? If there is, let's talk about it. If not, it is what it is. As always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. Hope you enjoyed talking with Mr. Randy. Have a good one.